Okay, what are the 5 things? Yes, I know in the beginning I held up 6. What are the 5 things that should be banned in the U.S. as of yesterday? Now, I have no hopes that any of this will happen. If it was going to happen, it probably already would have. But my number one thing that should happen is career politicians should be banned in Congress. That means term limits. No! Oh, Don, you don't understand. The Supreme Court said term limits are unconstitutional. Yeah, they really didn't say that. Said the way the law was written was unconstitutional. If you really wanted to put term limits on Congress, then you need a constitutional amendment. Notice that the politicians that voted for the term limits back in the 90s, once that they knew that was going to be struck down, that's why they all for it. Got flying here, hold on. So, notice that once it was struck down, they never really got around to getting that constitutional amendment going. That's the problem. We're allowing the people who this affects to make that decision. As far as the Supreme Court, I think in light of a lot of the stuff that's been coming out about the Supreme Court members, I think that pretty much says a lot on its own right there. But and I always find it funny, not funny, sarcastically speaking, that those who are against term limits, who write these articles, 5 reasons why we don't need term limits. When I read these articles or listen to a podcast, if you keep digging and you find the man behind the curtain pulling the strings,
pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Guess who they always are? It always goes back to this. They are special interests in large corporations who pay a lot of money to lobbyists. That's another thing. That's your number 6 bonus right there. Lobbyists should be banned as well. Some countries they are. Some countries, if you get caught lobbying, your head gets separated from the body and you end up a crab bait down at the bottom of the ocean. But you got these people, oh no, term limits on Congress, bad idea, bad idea. The only people it's a bad idea for are special interests and large corporations. Other than that, it cracks me up. Oh, we need experienced lawmakers. Yeah, we do. Really? Define an experienced lawmaker. Oh, that's one who lobbyists control and you pay a lot of money to grease their palms, because if every 2 to 4 years, or even 6 years, new blood came in, you'd have to start the process all over. It'd cost you more, wouldn't it? That's why these, special interests and corporations really don't want term limits on Congress. It's okay to have term limits on the president. It's okay to have term limits on governors. It's okay to have term limits on state legislatures. But not Congress. No. Well, it's funny, those states that have term limits on, like Oklahoma and some others, they're okay. They don't need experienced lawmakers. This country would be far better off if we had new blood coming in every 6 or 8 years. But Don, the people need to vote. Well, it's been proven, it has been for decades, that the people are sheeple. That they really, this last election, perfect case in point. Now I waited till the night before the election to decide who I was going to vote for. I spent about 4 or 5 hours going over all the stuff that was put out there, all the mud that was slung, reading the candidates' Facebook pages, their Instagrams, their websites, digging up all the information I could on them, and I made my decision. So I got the sample ballot, so I know where each candidate was, where each state question was, where everything was. Studied it. Went in the next morning. Now, Oklahoma is a state where they have what they call, the hell do they call that? Straight ticket voting or something like that. You can go in, you can check one box and vote for the entire party. I went in and I knew where the state, all the questions were. I knew where everyone was. There were people who came in after me, spent less than 5 minutes voting, and walked right back out. Straight ticket voters probably left a lot of them unanswered. Do you really want somebody who's too damn lazy to study the candidates, who just vote for people because what letter they have outside of their, next to their name is? Because that's majority of people do. They can't tell you why. Well, he got a D by his name, he's bad. He got an R by his name, I'm going to vote against him. Don't really need those people making decisions. So, put the term limits on, and you do away with career politicians like Markwayne Mullins or Nancy Pelosi or Chucky Schumer. You take their power away. That's really what is keeping this term limit things down, because these people are not going to push term limits on themselves. We're going to have to do it if it ever gets done. The American citizens. Right now, the majority of American citizens are too worried about what the Kardashians are doing, or who's winning the World Series, or the NBA playoffs, or whatever. Priorities, important stuff. Yeah. So the next one I want to talk about, that let me roll the window up, maybe we can hear it better. The next one I want to talk about, that citizens should ban, are toll roads. Toll roads. Tax roads, as I call them, because that's all it is just an additional tax. Now I can hear you now, oh no, we need toll roads. We gotta have good roads. I'm always amazed at the local forums. Every time this comes up, people are, we're not paying that much for toll roads. Well, you are, Someone says, I only pay $5 a day. Wow, $5 a day. You go to work 5 times a week. That's $25 a week. $100 a month. $1,200 a year. But that's not much to them. You wake up in the morning and there's a note on your nightstand that says, here's $1,200, spend it as you want. Do you throw it in the trash? I don't need it. No. But people never think about it. They always think about, it's just $5. It's just $7. They never think of adding all that up. That's why people don't get riled up about all the taxes taken out of their paychecks. Because the government takes it out before you even see it, so it doesn't seem so bad. But here's the thing about toll roads. You are already paying that. You already paid for that road. Now, I know most of these toll roads are paid through bonds. But there's a road tax on every gallon of gas you buy. That's for new roads and road maintenance. Whether you put that gas in your lawnmower, whether you pour it out on the ground, you either start a bonfire or put it in your car, you pay a road tax on that. very few people get taxes in. Farmers, ag, stuff like that. Some businesses get taxes in, but that's mostly on diesel also. So 99.9% of y'all are already paying for your highways. And the thing is, I'd be fine with toll roads. Like I said, I know most of these are built by bonds. But here's the thing. In Oklahoma, they try to say, well, we don't use no public resources. Last time I checked, Highway Patrol was a state agency. Well, we reimburse the state for that. The second you used eminent domain to take land to build that turnpike, it should be a freeway. You used a state power to take land away from private owners to build. I mean, that's like me. Let's say I'm going to go down here and just say, hey, I want to build me a laundromat down here on Bob's corner. Bob, I'm sorry, I'm taking that corner because I'm going to put a laundromat in there. And that's for the good of the people, Bob. Bob has nothing to say about it. I can't do that. You can't do that. The state can, though. So the second they use, if 1 foot of that turnpike, if eminent domain was used to take that land, it should be a freeway. You're already paying for that road. The problem is we have these people in place who mismanage the funds. Take, for instance, Oklahoma toll roads. Now, there is a board that manages the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. Guess who makes up the board? Mostly people, contractors, who have what kind of business? Contracting business do they have? Oh, that's right, they work on the roads. Imagine that. Oklahoma, they've never seen a toll road they didn't like. They will build toll roads that make no sense at all, just to generate money. Kickapoo Turnpike, perfect example. Or it connects the road, I-44 to I-40. You go 30 miles down the road, I-35 does the same thing and it's free. But nobody gets kickbacks and you know, under the table money for that. Well, they probably do. So, but you have all these contractors deciding on who gets to spend money. A few years ago, they spent millions upon millions updating their toll booths and stuff. Beautiful rock facades, metal roofs. Oh, they were just so beautiful. Guess what now? Now we're going to cashless, so we don't need toll roads now. So all that millions have blown. All that millions of dollars just blown. And it's like that everywhere. Texas is went crazy with toll roads. We need to stop it. We need to hold these politicians accountable for the money that they get for this instead of blowing it on stupid crap. If you're going to use a state authority of power like eminent domain to take this land, then it should be a freeway. I mean, it's just an added tax on something you're already paying for. Why pay more for it? The money's there. They just mismanage it. It's a lot. As citizens, we can vote these things out. We can ban them. And the first politician says, well, we're going to raise taxes in, he needs to be thrown in prison for taxpayer fraud. Then let's see how gung-ho happy they are. A few years ago, there was a government agency governor candidate who was running for governor, and one of his platforms was, we need to audit the Turnpike Authority. Within 2 days, they came out with ads against him. You talk about, he kicked a puppy when he was 6 years old, that bastard. You talk about the mud that came out against him. There was no way they was going to allow him to become governor and audit them. It was unbelievable when he first announced that we needed audits to do that. Oh my gosh, you would thought he was Hitler. It just wasn't going to happen in Oklahoma, boy. You just don't audit us. Voters could, but they're too busy worrying about the Kardashians and who's winning the NBA, the hockey game, and all that. Go figure. About 5 years ago, the Turnpike Authority wanted a rate increase. Oh, we're only going to raise it 10 to 12%. That's all. The fees are just going to go up 10 to 12%. Well, you know what? We're already paying for the damn toll road to begin with through fuel tax. So, okay. A lot of the exits I was using were 50 cents to get on and off. So, after their 10 to 12% increase, that 50-cent ramp become 80 cents. Some of the ones that were 75 cents went to $1.05. Now, I went to public school, and I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer when it comes to math, but I'm pretty damn sure 50 to 80 cents is larger than 12% increase. Pretty sure. They wouldn't explain that. No, and of course, none of the news medias would. That's a taboo subject in Oklahoma when you start talking, down to the, start trying to make toll road authority. You just don't do that in Oklahoma. Same with that GRDA. You leave them alone. They are taboo, and none of the news stations will even think about touching it. Now, there are some people that says, well, them semis, they're the ones tearing the roads up, they ought to pay. Well, let me fill you in on something. If you're in a semi, let's say you're in Tennessee and you're going to go to California, and you'll go through I-40 in Oklahoma, going to California. So anyway, every state you go through, let's say you fill up in Tennessee and you got 400-gallon tanks, and that can get you to California. Every state you go through gets their share of fuel tax, whether you fill up in that state or not, they get their share of fuel tax. Yeah. So these trucks that are going through your state, if they buy fuel in your state, they pay the tax there. If not, they pay it later. But the states get that fuel tax whether the trucks buy fuel in their state or not. So that's why I know they have the money to maintain these roads without going out and getting bonds and building toll roads and stuff. The next one on our list, I kind of go back and forth on this one, but it's really foreign land ownership. I really think, and here's why I think it should be set up. Basically, if it's against the law in your country for me to own land, then it's against our law for you to own land here. Many years ago, really not that many years ago, Kansas had a thing where it would not allow non-resident, I can't remember if they did not allow non-resident deer hunters, or they really cracked down, only gave a few non-resident deer hunting tags out a year. So what happened was the states started saying, okay, our non-resident deer hunting policy is whatever your state's non-resident deer hunting. So if we can't go to your state and deer hunt, you can't come to our states and deer hunt. You know what Kansas did? Ooh, wait. No, back up. Let's back that truck up. They changed their attitude real quick. And that's what needs to happen. If I cannot go to China and buy out land and own it outright with no special taxes other than what a Chinese citizen would pay or whatever, then they shouldn't be able to come here and buy it. So foreign ownership of American soil should be outlawed. Simple as that. If I can't go to Canada, buy me land and own it outright and pay the same taxes as a Canadian citizen, then no Canadian should be able to come here and buy land. And that includes corporations, especially corporations. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. One of the other things you need to get rid of, daylight savings time. Again, politicians come up with this. I know a few people think it's a good idea, but not many. Arizona and Hawaii, they got smart and said, nah. We ain't done that tomfoolery. And I really don't care one way or another. Pick one, though. Pick one. And that's it. Okay? People say, well, our kids are waiting for the school bus in the dark. Teach them not to be scared of the dark, okay? I waited for the school bus in the dark. Still here. It just amazes me. I mean, I would lose some comedic entertainment because there are people, I know people who still believe the sun will come up and go down later based on daylight savings time. I said, you know, we're just manipulating the clock, don't you? No, the sun comes up early and goes down. Really? You really believe that? What about in the states of Arizona and Hawaii where they don't have it? What? Does the sun have a special time for them? There's countries that don't observe it. What about that? We're manipulating the clock. We could make the sun come up at midnight and go down at noon if we wanted to. Doesn't mean the sun's gonna go, oh, you know, those people down there in the U.S., they want the sun to come up at midnight. Okay, I'll change my orbit I'll change my orbit to satisfy them. Doesn't work that way, folks. Doesn't work that way.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
We're just playing with the clocks is all we're doing. And there is proof out there that it costs billions of dollars. And it screws with people. It screws with me all the time. Used to when I was hunting, you know, you change your clock back, try to get up on. It almost always screwed up. I mean, one year I sat there. I was younger. I was probably, I don't know, 15, 16. I thought the sun never was going to come up. I thought the world would come to end. I was so happy when it started getting daylight. But since then, I stopped changing my clock back. It would take me about a week. But I get up at my normal time, get out in the woods at normal time. Sun comes up like it always has. Stop screwing with the clock. So yeah, let's do away with daylight savings time. I mean, if you think about it, it's really silly. Really, really silly. Well, I need an extra eye in the summer so I can go to the park. Pick one. I don't care which one you pick. Pick one, leave it alone. if there is one thing that I could wave a magic wand, like that witch boy, whatever, wizard boy, whatever, what's his name? I don't know. Y'all probably know. I don't watch that stuff. But if I could wave a magic wand and do away with one thing out of these 5, it would probably be wind energy. Why? Wind energy really isn't green. Let's take a look at it. But let's just take a look at the wind energy and see how green it is. Now, again, we don't have that little boy wizard running around with a magic wand and just going bing, 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 and there's magically a wind turbine materialized. It doesn't work that way. I know in some of the greenies world it probably does, but to get one, we're talking about one turbine here, just one. It's going to take anywhere from 10 to 15 semis, just 10 to 15 semis to bring the materials for one wind turbine to the site. Oh yeah, I gotta have a, what is that, shaft for a wind turbine. Oh, I hate those things. Just one, 10 to 15. And those 10 to 15 trucks are going to burn anywhere from 3 to 6 miles per gallon of diesel fuel. If that doesn't already burn a greenie's butt, hang on, there's more. Most of those, depending on what state they're in, will have to have anywhere from 2 to 4 to maybe 5 escorts. So now we're talking upwards of 50 support vehicles burning diesel and gas.
But wait! There's more! Hang on to your seat, baby! Cause this one's a screamer!
That's just to get it to the site. That magic wand still isn't working because it won't erect itself. Now what we talk about? Typically what I've seen, 2 cranes. One big crane, one big crane, one smaller crane, support crane. That big crane, he doesn't drive himself to the job site. He's dismantled and hauled piece by piece by more trucks. Depending on the size, depending on what they need, everything from crane mats to hauling mass sections to the tracks to the, you can be talking as much as 5 or more semis to get that one crane to the job site. Then you got the smaller crane. And again, those trucks are only getting 3 to 6 miles per gallon. Wow. That's hundreds of thousands of gallons of diesel fuel to get one wind turbine to the location and erect it. Not to mention that most of those are not even recyclable once they're 20 to 25 year lifespan. I know. The Wind Association says some of those can last 30 to 40 years. And it says the new technology, we're finding new ways instead of burying them, cutting them up and burying them like we're doing now. Because they're green. They're green, man. This administration is fighting so hard to save Obama's and Brandon's legacy. That's pretty much their only legacy. And that's why you see so much money thrown at the green energy sector. If this doesn't materialize, their legacy is down the drain. If they cannot get this industry up on its feet, that's it. I think, personally, they're eyesores. I'd rather see 100-acre auto salvage out there than these stupid wind farms. They're eyesores. Plus, let's not forget about this. Oh, yeah, they don't want you to talk about that. The detriment they have to the environment. Oh, that shit. No, not that they have people going around picking up dead birds and stuff. Oh, no, let's not talk about that. Oh, no, that's green, man, that's green. Okay, so you think, okay, so we got upwards of 20 trucks and a couple 100,000 gallons of diesel for one. How green is that? Just that alone, how green is that? But again, you know those big generator reduction, no, they're not gear reducers, they're increasers, because that turbine can't turn fast enough to generate power without increasing gear speeds and all this stuff. So that they can spin the generator fast enough to generate electricity and low winds. You know what's inside that case? Is it magic fairy dust? No. Is it leaves? No, not leaves. I say that because look at all my leaves. Okay, greenies, hold on. Tape your head up real tight because there is petroleum oil and they're lubricating those. Are you seeing that you can't have green wind energy without the petroleum industry yet? It won't exist without petroleum. If you go out by Seymour, Texas, head out towards Lubbock, big old long row of windmills. I think almost every one of those things have big old brown stuff running down them. Look like they've been smoking or something, you know? But that's not nicotine. That's petroleum oil. Pretty sure. And what happens when those, you see that quite a bit. What happens, now they're putting them offshore. What happens when they leak offshore? Is that oil just magically not, does it just magically not go into the ocean? So you see, we can't have wind energy without petroleum. And if your industry cannot survive without the petroleum industry, you don't have a green industry. You don't, because it cannot function. It cannot exist without petroleum products. How crazy is that? And you go, oh, well, it just turned on by itself, man. Yeah, how's it turn by itself? It doesn't, like I say, it doesn't take itself to the site. The wind doesn't blow all those parts there. The wind doesn't put those together. So yeah, that's one of the things on my list should be banned. This is the biggest freaking eyesores on the horizon, on the landscape. And let's also not forget that not only can it not exist without the petroleum industry, it cannot exist without taxpayer-supported subsidies, government subsidies. Because no one would invest in it because they know it's a crappy investment. But hey, if the government's going to give money, well, we'll invest in that because we'll get our money from the government. All them red lights are windmills.